In a shocking twist that has Hollywood spinning and digital creators sounding the alarm, Blake Lively's once tightly controlled public image is now under intense scrutiny. And this time it's not because of a movie premiere or red carpet controversy, but rather due to the growing backlash surrounding her legal and PR team's questionable handling of an escalating media storm. What was once seen as a polished, untouchable brand of elegance and empowerment is now being pulled apart thread by thread as new evidence suggests her team may have gone too far in trying to silence online criticism. The ripple effect is massive, especially for the digital community. Dozens of content creators are now speaking out, alleging that they've been targeted, harassed, and misrepresented by a coordinated and overly aggressive public relations strategy that's backfiring in real time. It's not just a PR misstep. It's being labeled by many as a strategic failure, one that could have serious legal and ethical consequences, especially as public support begins to wane. Creators are alleging they were threatened with takedown notices, legal warnings, and even public shaming simply for covering or commenting on a matter of intense public interest. And the timing couldn't be worse. Blake Lively's legal entanglement with actor-director Justin Baldoni has already captured headlines. Now this new PR fallout is adding fuel to the fire, and many are asking how far is too far. When it comes to protecting an image, this is the first part of a multi-part deep dive that unpacks every angle of the PR fallout, the creator community's reaction, and the broader implications for celebrity power in the digital age. Let's get into it. For years, Blake Lively's brand stood as a golden example of celebrity success. A list status, beloved marriage, carefully curated public appearances, and the perfect blend of Hollywood glamour and relatable charm. But behind that polished surface was a PR machine working overtime. And lately it seems that very machine may have started to collapse under the weight of its own overreach. The tipping point appears to have emerged from a convergence of two escalating events. First, the very public legal battle with Justin Baldoni, a case already generating intense media scrutiny. Second, a growing list of YouTubers, TikTok creators, and independent journalists who began documenting the case and raising uncomfortable questions about inconsistencies in statements, shifting narratives, and legal maneuvers used by Lively's team. Rather than engage transparently or let the media cycle run its course, it now appears that Blake's PR team went into full containment mode, aggressively attempting to stop the spread of commentary through cease and desist letters, reputation monitoring campaigns, and what some creators are calling targeted discrediting tactics. Multiple creators, including small channels with fewer than 1,000 subscribers, began reporting similar patterns. After uploading content commenting on the Blake Lively vs. Justin Baldoni case, they noticed sudden demonetizations, copyright flaggings with vague justifications, and in some cases coordinated comment spam aimed at discrediting them. One anonymous content creator who wished to remain unnamed for fear of legal retaliation described receiving a sternly worded email from someone claiming to represent Lively's team, warning them of potential brand infringement and character defamation, even though the creator had simply read and analyzed publicly available court documents. This overreach didn't go unnoticed. The digital creator community is tight-knit, and once a pattern is spotted, word spreads quickly. Influencers began comparing notes, screenshots, and emails. What they found was disturbing. Several had received nearly identical warning messages, complete with matching legal language and vague accusations about misleading content. Despite their work being sourced from court transcripts and publicly available news coverage, the backlash was swift. Medium-sized channels with followings in the hundreds of thousands began rallying support for their smaller counterparts. Some content creators began live streaming their experience with these takedown attempts in real time, effectively turning the spotlight back onto Blake Lively's team and forcing a conversation about the ethics of celebrity PR in a digital world. This is beyond image management. This feels like intimidation, one creator stated during a live stream that has since been viewed over 2 million times. Legal experts started weighing in as well. While it's not uncommon for public figures to employ PR firms to mitigate damage and manage narratives, the aggressive tactics allegedly used here are sparking concern. Media attorney Melissa Grant, speaking on a legal podcast, noted it's one thing to defend a reputation. It's another to use legal intimidation against individuals discussing verified public information. That enters ethically gray territory and could actually make things worse for the celebrity involved. Indeed, the backlash hasn't just hurt Blake's image, it may have backfired completely. Instead of silencing criticism, it amplified it. YouTubers who had never covered the case before are now speaking out in solidarity. Journalists from both legacy and independent media are starting to examine not just the court case, but the tactics being used to manage its coverage. And all of this has given Justin Baldoni's side a new advantage in the court of public opinion. After all, if Blake Lively's team is trying so hard to control the narrative, what might they be afraid of people finding out? To understand why this has hit such a nerve, we have to look at how public discourse has shifted. In the age of social media, commentary and reaction videos are not just entertainment. They're part of how the public processes celebrity news. People trust independent creators to cut through the noise, offer opinions, and provide context. These creators often work with limited resources and enormous passion. For many, this is their full-time career. So when a powerful celebrity deploys an elite PR firm to clamp down on that community, it becomes more than just an image battle. It feels like a fight for free speech and creator rights. The emotional toll is real too. Some creators have reported elevated anxiety, fear of legal repercussions, and even withdrawing content to avoid being targeted. One small creator from Canada shared in a now viral video, "I've always loved Blake Lively's work, but I never imagined that simply talking about her court case would lead to this kind of pressure. It's disheartening. It makes you wonder who really controls what gets seen and said online." There's also a growing awareness that this isn't just about Blake Lively. This could be a precedent-setting moment for the creator economy. If a celebrity can unleash a coordinated PR and legal campaign to silence online commentary and succeed, it could have chilling implications for all content creators moving forward. Many digital rights advocates are now getting involved. Organizations like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and Fair Use Defenders have begun monitoring this situation, some even reaching out to affected creators to offer guidance. A few have even gone on record suggesting that some of the takedown attempts may fall under what's known as strategic lawsuits against public participation, or SLAPPs, a tactic used to intimidate critics through legal threats. And while Blake Lively herself has remained silent on the controversy, that silence is starting to speak volumes. Public perception is shifting. Once a darling of the entertainment press, she's now being portrayed in some corners of the media as out of touch, overprotected, and increasingly insulated from the realities of public discourse. Her PR strategy intended to protect her may instead have isolated her both from the fans who once adored her and from the content creators who now feel betrayed. And what's most remarkable is that this entire situation was avoidable. Transparency, respectful engagement, and even a public acknowledgement of criticism could have diffused the situation. Instead, an aggressive clampdown has ignited a digital firestorm, one that shows no sign of burning out anytime soon, as backlash surrounding Blake Lively's handling of her legal drama with Justin Baldoni grows louder. A troubling new narrative has begun to take shape. It's no longer just a matter of public relations missteps or a few unflattering headlines. This has now evolved into something far more serious, layered with allegations of legal intimidation and potential censorship of independent creators. A closer look at how her team allegedly managed this digital firestorm reveals a complex and controversial strategy that many are calling excessive, aggressive, and damaging, not just to Lively's public image but to the foundational dynamics of online free speech. At the center of this developing storm are claims that Lively's PR and legal teams have used a combination of legal instruments and digital tactics in a bid to contain, suppress, or outright silence critical commentary. These efforts, while perhaps legally permissible in form, are raising serious ethical concerns in substance. Among the tools reportedly employed, DMCA takedown notices, cease and desist letters, reputation flagging campaigns, and sweeping accusations of defamation without clear evidence. The creators caught in this web aren't just major influencers or celebrities themselves. Many are small independent content producers, working from their bedrooms and recording with smartphones. And yet they're now facing the pressure of multi-million-dollar PR machines, attempting to discredit or suppress their work. One of the most frequently mentioned tactics has been the use or misuse of DMCA takedown notices. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act was designed to protect content creators from piracy and to ensure copyright holders had a mechanism to report unauthorized use. However, over time, this mechanism has been distorted by those looking to silence criticism. Under the guise of copyright enforcement, multiple creators who reported on the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case say they were hit with copyright complaints despite not using any actual copyrighted materials. In one case, a small legal commentary channel had their video flagged for using a single photo of Lively in the thumbnail, a photo that was already circulating widely in news outlets. Another creator had their analysis of the legal filings removed after receiving a claim that their video repurposed protected audio, even though the audio in question was a publicly available reading of court records, legal analysts have pointed out that this sort of behavior, if intentional, can veer into deeply problematic territory. Media rights attorney Danica Graves explained that using DMCA notices to suppress commentary that clearly falls under fair use protections is not only legally questionable but also undermines the very framework that supports creative freedom online. According to Graves, if the content is transformative, factually accurate, and not profiting from someone else's intellectual property, it's typically protected. A pattern of these kinds of takedowns, she warned, could trigger consequences for the parties filing them, especially if those parties are found to be abusing the system. But that's not where the issue ends. Creators also allege that they've received intimidating legal notices in the form of cease and desist letters, sometimes signed by law firms known for their aggressive reputation management tactics. These letters, sent to creators with relatively modest followings, contained stern language warning of brand infringement, defamation by implication, and interference with reputation equity. Many recipients claimed they were simply providing commentary based on public records and mainstream news reports, yet the tone of the letters suggested they were engaging in a smear campaign. The emotional toll of these legal threats has been significant. One creator described the panic she felt after receiving such a letter, fearing she could lose her channel or worse, face an actual lawsuit simply for expressing her views. This overreach hasn't gone unnoticed. Many content creators, even those who had never previously covered Blake Lively, began speaking out in solidarity. Some began organizing live stream panels to discuss the chilling effect these actions were having on smaller creators. Legal podcasts picked up the issue, and media figures began to question the ethics of celebrity image control in the era of decentralized media. Attorney Raymond Lopez, during a recent interview, noted that while sending cease and desist letters isn't inherently unlawful, doing so repeatedly and without firm legal footing may be seen as an attempt to stifle legitimate discourse. According to him, courts are increasingly willing to consider whether legal actions by public figures are being used to intimidate or censor, particularly when the targets are individuals speaking on matters of public interest. In addition to legal threats, a subtler but equally disturbing pattern began to emerge: the manipulation of social media algorithms and reputation flagging. Several creators reported that after uploading critical content, their videos were suddenly buried in search results or flagged for vague violations, like community harm or misleading information. These flags, while not always resulting in takedowns, impacted visibility and ad revenue outcomes that can be devastating for full-time creators. One TikTok user, Luna Carly, posted a video describing how her viral commentary on the legal controversy was removed just hours after gaining traction, only to be reinstated later with no explanation. She described the experience as frustrating and demoralizing, especially since her content had violated no platform rules. Industry observers believe this could be the work of digital reputation management firms, third-party agencies often hired by high-profile clients to monitor, report, and suppress content deemed damaging to their public image. These firms operate within a gray area, using algorithmic scanning tools and coordinated flagging strategies to reduce the visibility of unwanted narratives. While difficult to trace directly back to clients, the patterns are well documented. The rise in sudden flags, demonetization, and content suppression following videos about Blake Lively raises important questions about whether such a firm may be involved, and what standards, if any, should govern their work in protecting celebrity reputations. Meanwhile, accusations of defamation have been used liberally, often without clarity or supporting evidence. In the U.S., defamation law strongly protects commentary and opinion, particularly when the subject is a public figure. To qualify as defamatory, a statement must not only be false, it must be knowingly false and made with malicious intent. Most creators reporting on this case cite court filings, verified news coverage, or offer opinions clearly framed as such. Yet some received legal warnings alluding to potentially defamatory tone or harmful framing, neither of which are clear legal violations. This vague language has the effect of creating uncertainty and fear among creators, even when their content is entirely lawful. The result: some creators have deleted videos, disabled comments, or simply stepped away from the conversation altogether. This suppression has not gone unchallenged. The community of online creators, particularly those focused on law, media, and social commentary, has responded with growing solidarity. A new wave of content has emerged, not about the Blake Lively case itself, but about the response to the response. This meta commentary has drawn even more attention to the unfolding situation, with many now labeling the backlash as a classic example of the Streisand effect, a phenomenon where efforts to suppress information only result in more visibility. One legal YouTuber remarked during a live stream they didn't just try to hide the fire, they threw gasoline on it. What was once a niche court case between two celebrities has now morphed into a broader conversation about power, digital rights, and the limits of celebrity control. The irony is that none of this may have happened if Blake Lively's team had taken a more measured, transparent approach. Rather than viewing commentary as a threat, they might have acknowledged the public's right to engage with the case, issued clarifying statements when necessary, or respectfully challenged inaccurate information. Instead, the approach appears to have been silence first, question later. That tactic may have worked in the pre-digital era, but today, where content creation is democratic and commentary is decentralized, it's proving not only ineffective but reputation damaging. Most troubling of all is the sense that these tactics disproportionately impact small creators. Individuals with limited resources, no legal teams, and modest audiences are the ones being targeted. Most aggressively, perhaps the calculation is that these creators will simply back down, and in many cases they do not because they're wrong, but because they cannot afford the fight. Yet that pattern has sparked a moral and ethical backlash. Digital rights groups like the EFF Electronic Frontier Foundation are beginning to monitor the case, and some creators have begun exploring legal recourse under anti-SLAPP statutes, laws designed to prevent strategic lawsuits against public participation. In the end, what we're seeing unfold isn't just a celebrity attempting to control a scandal. It's a powerful cautionary tale about the future of content creation and public commentary. When public figures armed with high-profile legal teams and reputation consultants can target creators for simply analyzing court cases, it sets a dangerous precedent. And in Blake Lively's case, that precedent may already be unraveling. As the digital backlash against Blake Lively's team gains momentum, another quieter, but no less damaging consequence is unfolding behind the scenes: the slow and subtle withdrawal of support from some of the most influential names in Hollywood. While the public drama continues to play out on social media, and YouTube insiders are noticing a shift in tone from within the industry itself. Former allies are going silent, longtime collaborators are distancing themselves, and for perhaps the first time in her career, Blake Lively appears to be facing the cold, isolating backlash of Hollywood's internal politics, the kind that doesn't announce itself loudly, but instead creeps in through canceled meetings, ghosted invitations, and neutral interviews that once would have come with glowing praise. It's no secret that public image plays a crucial role in the entertainment industry, and even a star with Blake Lively's track record is not immune to reputational risks. Her ability to balance charm, relatability, and polished celebrity branding has long been admired by fans and professionals alike. But that brand now stands at a crossroads, and the decisions made by her team in handling this unfolding for disaster may be eroding the very foundation that once made her so widely supported. Sources close to several studios have confirmed that since the PR crisis involving content creators began, there has been hesitation around attaching Lively to major new projects. One entertainment executive speaking anonymously shared that while Blake remains a bankable name, there's a difference between star power and PR volatility. The current climate around her team's actions is drawing unwanted attention, and no studio wants to walk into a press cycle filled with allegations of creator suppression and legal aggression. The same sentiment appears to be echoing across red carpets, talent agencies, and publicist circles. Multiple public figures who once praised Lively's influence are now noticeably quiet. At a recent panel on digital storytelling, a prominent female director once linked to a Lively-led adaptation project declined to comment when asked if the film was still moving forward. In another instance, a stylist who had worked with Lively on multiple campaigns hinted in a podcast that not everyone is who you think they are when the cameras are off. Though vague, the tone was unmistakably different from the glowing reputation Blake Lively has maintained for over a decade. Even some of Lively's A-list peers appear to be navigating this situation cautiously. While no one has publicly criticized her directly, the absence of vocal support is beginning to speak volumes. Stars who previously engaged with her posts or endorsed her brand initiatives are now notably silent online. The pattern is subtle but unmistakable. In the image-conscious world of Hollywood, silence is rarely just silence. It's often the first signal of a broader reputational shift, and it's not just about optics. There are also financial implications. Brands that once viewed Lively as an aspirational partner are reportedly reevaluating campaigns. According To one marketing strategist, the decision isn't necessarily rooted in the legal case itself, but in the perception of digital hostility that now surrounds her name. In today's content-driven economy, authenticity and openness are essential. And when creators feel silenced or bullied, brands feel the heat. Sponsorships thrive on engagement, relatability, and trust. If creators no longer feel safe speaking freely about a public figure, the value of that figure's brand begins to diminish fast. This moment is especially pivotal because Lively had until recently cultivated an image that was almost bulletproof. Her social media presence felt personal and curated. Her marriage to Ryan Reynolds, portrayed as playful and grounded, and her occasional forays into activism were met with applause, rather than skepticism. But the recent revelations about how her team allegedly responded to online criticism, particularly from small creators, cuts against everything that image once represented. The irony, of course, is that many of the content creators who are now speaking out were never hostile toward Blake Lively. In fact, some were longtime fans offering commentary with empathy and curiosity. Their turn came not out of dislike but out of disappointment. They felt targeted, devalued, and unprotected in a space where open discussion is meant to thrive. And when fans begin to feel like the people they admired are working against them, even indirectly, that disappointment can rapidly transform into opposition. Hollywood, ever sensitive to public sentiment, is taking note. This isn't a traditional scandal involving criminal behavior or leaked footage. It's more insidious, a slow unraveling of trust, caused by behind-the-scenes decisions that tried to manage criticism but ended up multiplying it. In the entertainment industry, where reputations are built not just on performance, but on perception, such missteps can carry long-lasting consequences. One manager who works with high-profile actors put it bluntly: there's a quiet calculus happening right now. If someone is generating more controversy than engagement, it's not worth the risk. There are too many talented people who come with fewer complications. That's the reality, no matter how successful someone's track record is. This growing industry wariness has also caught the attention of PR professionals, many of whom are now using the situation as a case study in how not to respond to digital criticism. Internal memos circulating at major PR firms are reportedly analyzing the Blake Lively team's strategy and using it to train junior staff on risk management, reputation repair, and digital engagement ethics. One publicist even commented during a recent workshop, if you try to silence everyone, you end up saying more than you ever intended. Transparency wins, always. In addition to the professional fallout, there's also a personal toll beginning to emerge. According to sources close to the actress, Lively has been increasingly insulated from both press and public appearances, limiting interviews and reducing public engagements since the controversy intensified. While some of this may be strategic, a temporary pause until the storm settles, others speculate it may reflect internal tension over how the situation has spiraled. The quiet retreat, once considered a power move of control, now risks being interpreted as avoidance or worse, guilt. Interestingly, Justin Baldoni, who has kept a relatively low profile throughout the original court proceedings, appears to be gaining quiet support from parts of the industry as the story evolves. By contrast, his measured responses and refusal to engage in character assassination have earned him a wave of goodwill from both fans and peers. Whether intentional or not, his team's decision to refrain from aggressive tactics has allowed him to maintain the appearance of integrity, something Blake's team is now struggling to recover. The most revealing moments, however, are coming from within the creator community. Not only are content creators sharing their experiences, but many are also using Blake Lively's team as a cautionary tale in their own content about internet censorship, power imbalances, and ethical PR. Some have launched ongoing video series documenting how their videos were flagged or removed. Others are hosting panels and inviting legal experts to discuss creators' rights. The result is a growing digital archive that frames Blake's brand as one at odds with the very platforms that helped build her modern influence. All of this adds up to a remarkably swift change in perception. Less than a year ago, Blake Lively was viewed as one of Hollywood's most stable and respected celebrities. Today, that reputation is under sustained pressure, not because of a single scandal, but because of a cascading series of choices made in the name of control. In attempting to manage public opinion, her team may have unintentionally created a situation where her narrative is no longer her own. This moment is bigger than one celebrity. It's exposing a fault line in the way fame interacts with the modern media landscape. For a long time, celebrities could rely on traditional PR to manage their images. But in the creator economy, that strategy is breaking down. Individuals with smartphones and Wi-Fi now wield tremendous influence, and they are not easily intimidated. Instead, they share, repost, and amplify. They connect with legal experts, media analysts, and audiences who care about truth and transparency. In this world, power doesn't silence people, it invites more questions. And so while Blake Lively may have intended to defend her image, the approach taken by her team is increasingly being viewed as outdated, disproportionate, and self-sabotaging. Hollywood is watching, fans are responding, creators are fighting back, and in the process, the very nature of celebrity protection is being rewritten in real time. As we look back on the unfolding drama surrounding Blake Lively's team and their aggressive PR tactics, one thing becomes crystal clear: this strategy has backfired. In a spectacular way, what was seemingly intended to protect Lively's image and silence online dissent has only amplified scrutiny and backlash. By targeting content creators, influencers, and commentators, some of whom had relatively small audiences, her team has ignited a larger conversation about censorship, fair use, and the ethics of celebrity power in the digital age. Rather than controlling the narrative, Blake's campaign inadvertently handed creators a powerful counter-narrative. The public witnessed firsthand how quickly Hollywood's influence can overreach, especially when it clashes with independent voices online. Content creators, once niche, are now center stage, gaining visibility and support from broader communities who see this legal targeting as unjust and heavy-handed. Meanwhile, creators who were once neutral or even sympathetic to Blake are now questioning everything. Her once polished public image has taken a serious hit, not necessarily because of personal wrongdoing, but because of how her team is perceived to be managing this crisis. With aggression, secrecy, and a disregard for digital boundaries, the long-term implications are significant. Influencers are rallying together, legal experts are weighing in, and fans are starting to turn away from the curated gloss of Hollywood PR machines. In a world where authenticity and transparency matter more than ever, Blake Lively's team may have unknowingly set the stage for their own undoing. Because at the end of the day, silencing creators doesn't erase the conversation. It only makes it louder, and in this case, that volume has reached deafening levels. What started as a calculated PR move has become one of the most public and damaging missteps in recent celebrity history.